When you see this hat and see these shades, you already know what day it is. It's your favorite day. It's hump day. And it's not just because we're one day closer to the weekend. It is because your favorite program with your favorite people drops today. Compas on the beat. Welcome back to this electrifying program. If you thought we were done getting big guests after that Triple G interview, which, by the way, most of you guys should go out there and check it out if you haven't already. Combat Compas, it's on the YouTube page. Great episode. We also got another big guest today. You will recognize his voice. His angelic voice is on Around the NFL podcast. His name is Marc Sessler, and he will be previewing the AFC North for this here, your favorite program and your favorite Compas. Don't forget to follow all our social media pages. On the Twitter, we're at Compas OTB. The OTB is capital, but just like that ShamWow stooge. But wait, there's more. We're also on the TikToks and the Instagram, or TikToks, whatever you call them. I don't know. At Compas on the beat for both handles. Help us reach our goal of getting 1,000 subscribers before the NFL season. Be a friend, tell a friend, basically. That would be great. And also, you know, your boy on this here episode is going to get on, and we're going to talk a little NFC North, stir up some trouble, poke the bear, and by bear, I mean Alberto! All right, shut me up. No more distraction, no more hesitation. It is now time for the best damn podcast in the universe from an undisclosed location. Hit the music, Nando! Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez, and with me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano, OC Register, LA Daily News. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? You know, as you can tell, you already told me that my mustache is getting out of control. So I'm in the dog days of training camp. And I know we're going to start off What's up, bro, when we talk about our lives. And I'm a changed person now. I went axe throwing. I'm a lumberjack, man. So I got the mustache. I got the axe. You know, it's just, I don't know. I just feel different.
You were missing the flannel.
Yeah. So, yeah, I should wear a flannel right now. So I need a flannel, get myself an ox, a giant ox like Paul Bunyan. Keep throwing axes and writing stories.
I saw that and I was like, wow. I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's that, and I could tell that was a Caroline thing. That's not a you thing. So
what?
Obviously, I think that's Caroline finding fun activities for you guys to do. So shout out to Caroline for keeping it interesting.
I suggested the idea a month ago, but I never wanted to do it until she pushed me. So
have you seen those videos where they throw the axe and then it like jumps back out and stuff? That didn't happen to you guys?
Oh, one time, and the lady was like, "You're supposed to move when that comes back to you." I'm like, "Oh, my bad." I didn't think twice about it. I was like, "Dang, it didn't hit the freaking wood." So I was kind of
either one of you guys bullseye?
We got a couple. We actually, after like being terrible during the tutorial, we got into it and got some bullseyes. So yeah, it was fun. You should try it.
You guys keep score or like winner buys dinner or anything like that?
If you want to get into it, she might be watching. She's mad because she choked in the championship game. She was like the number 1 seed team. Like she beat me 3 times, the first 3 times. And then the grand prize, the rules were said. There's a championship game and the 4th game is a championship game. So nothing matters before that. We got to the championship game. Your best 5 throws, you count the scores, your boy won. So she's sour grapes right now. So
yeah,
when it counts, I won.
That's a pretty good one. How's the farmer stand going?
Oh, that's not. It's pretty bad. See, I'm embarrassed to show that. I look like I don't know.
You wear sunscreen?
I've been forgetting, so that's why it's gotten worse. I do wear it, and then I forget, and yeah, I'm ready for this to be over for another training camp. Get me. I know I don't want to drive to Thousand Oaks just yet, but just get me inside.
You're almost there. I mean, it's almost it's starting to kind of come down to the last dog days for the Rams. Of course, the Chargers still have about another week because they have that joint practice with the Dallas Cowboys. But Gilbert, speaking of, LA, and we're talking about both LA teams. There was I don't want to say a moment of sadness. I think it was a moment of remembrance in the last few days with the passing of Vince Scully. Vince Scully, obviously very famous for famous for obviously being an announcer for the Dodgers and doing all kinds of different things for years and years. And obviously, if you know the Dodgers, Vince Scully is one of those guys that you'll remember. Just Gilbert, any what's one of your fondest memories of him, or something that you know?
Yeah, friend. What I remember is my childhood having Vince Scully calling games, and I'm not that old, but I still had the radio days. I wanted the little radio speaker. Took it everywhere I went to listen to Dodger games, and then even the best part was like when you go to an actual Dodgers game, you had the radio right next to you, and I got that from just watching people, the Dodgers fans at these games. They always had the AM radio, and I'm like always thankful somebody had it because you want to hear Vince Scully's voice. So I remember, his voice and KTLA Channel 5. I didn't have cable growing up, so when he was on regular TV, I love Vince Scully. So for me, just to kind of have him around, hearing his voice, it's time for Dodgers baseball. The best thing you could hear growing up, and even to this day, because it's crazy to me how he still kept going, into his 80s or even 90s.
Yeah, no, and I mean he's one of the pioneers of radio and everything. When you think of him, you think of like Al Michaels, you think of Dick Enberg, some of these guys that were around for years and years. And I mean I wasn't fortunate enough growing up in San Diego. I didn't really listen to Vince Scully much. I remember when I went to Long Beach, that's when I knew more about Vince Scully, because our teacher, or like our sports teachers, would show us stuff on the radio from Vince Scully and everything. So you're just like, wow, this guy literally had a way with words, and the way he spoke, and the way he was during games. So obviously you guys are very lucky to have had him for so many years. It made me, with his passing, it made me think more about like Dick Enberg and some of these guys that we've had down here. And you just think about the way these guys are, and they're immortal. Like, these guys are going to be remembered forever just because of the way they were, and the way they kind of brought you in a sense to the game. And sometimes, I mean, I remember I used to do this. I used to like shut my eyes and just listen. That's how I kind of pictured it when I was a kid. If I could shut my eyes and I could see everything happening, that's how you could tell how good an announcer the person was. Now, sometimes nowadays, I sometimes don't get those pictures from some of the announcers today. So I hope most announcers can go back and kind of do what they used to do with that, because the way like guys like Vince Scully and Dick Enberg, the way they used to tell you everything going out on the field, I mean, it was just one of those things where you could literally, like, you could paint a picture in your head. And I think that's the most beautiful part about them as announcers, and the way they did things. But Vince Scully will always be remembered, and I just think he's one of those immortal what's it called, the where the God where the presidents are, the
Mount
Mount Rushmore.
Rushmore.
He's on the Mount Rushmore
He might be
sports
all
announcers
alone,
figures.
Fernando. He was a big deal, especially from that phase from going to Brooklyn to Los Angeles, and
Yeah,
the reason why the Dodgers are the most popular team in baseball. Yeah, I said it, Yankee fans, because of Vince Scully.
I think you're kind of jumping that one just because
I
I
don't
don't
know. Okay.
know. But yeah, no, beautiful, just an incredible human being. But all right, Gilbert, it's time to get into some NFL stuff. Let's start off with you, Matt Stafford. There's been a lot of questions. Does he have arthritis in the elbow? Does he have this? Does he have that? Matt Stafford kind of clap back at you guys. What's going on? Is he or isn't he? What's the deal? What do you think?
It's so funny how much this story just took a turn since we stopped recording the previous Compas on the Beat. I think we recorded on Monday night, and I think or Tuesday. And at that point was just, hey, he's resting the arm, no team drills. Ask me again in 2 weeks. And then it just became this big old story. And I feel like I've written like 5 or 6 or 7 Matthew Stafford stories to start my Rams tenure as a beat reporter. And, it kind of picked up a little bit after the rap sheet report that he has bad tendonitis in his elbow. And, Stafford wasn't practicing. And we just remember, hey, what's this thing actually called? Is it tendonitis? Like Sean McVay never gave us an answer of what this injury was, and he never specified. So I think we kind of just stumbled into him saying it's abnormal pain. So when you asked Sean McVay about the bad tendonitis, he said, I don't even know what to call it myself. I don't even know what we're dealing with here. We're learning on the fly, and we're like, hold up, you don't even know what's going on with your quarterback. So it just picked up from there. And Sean McVay started using words like abnormal, pain, saying he's never dealt with it as a coach before. That this injury is only for baseball players. So all that was like, okay, this is kind of a red flag here. You don't even know what you're dealing with, and your quarterback must be like, hanging on by a thread with the arm. So
Well,
you
Matthew
know,
does throw different than a lot of quarterbacks.
yeah, he has a kind of a strange motion, but it works for him. And
Yeah.
with the whole confusion, the next time Stafford speaks, us reporters, we're gonna ask what the heck is going on. You're the one feeling the pain. You let us know what's going on because obviously Sean McVay doesn't know what's going on yet. Like all he's saying is he needs rest. You know, we'll figure it out as we go. Uh, so come Stafford's day to speak to the media on Saturday, he was already agitated. He was irritated. He said he was irritated. Well, let me kind of pull back. He has irritation in his arm, but he acted irritated to talk about it. So it was just kind of funny how that tied in together. Quarterback irritated about his elbow being irritated. So, yeah, it just kind of was a lot of drama. But the funny thing was, if that report never came out and Sean McVay never really said those words, this would probably be a non-story because
Yeah.
in individuals and 7-on-7 drills, Stafford looks like Matthew Stafford. He's been putting on a show, making every play, throwing deep, everything you want as a quarterback. So to me, I'm not, like you mentioned, Fernando, I'm not really a doctor, but I have two eyes and he could throw the football. So I'll leave
It
it at
it
that. But it
it
was a
sounds
funny
to me
week.
like maybe one day he'll wake up, it might be sore. Another day he might wake up and it might feel fine. That's kind of the way I kind of
Yeah.
got that it
Well,
might
he's a
go.
veteran
So
quarterback. He's 34 years old. He's gonna have a arm soreness. And when he finally asked him, he's like, "What are you dealing with?" He just said it's general soreness. So other than being annoyed and irritated, he kind of gave some clarity that hey, it's nothing.
and
It's just soreness.
annoyed and irritated is like kind of I think what's going on right now with the Los Angeles Chargers. Every day that Brandon Staley comes up to the podium, he's getting asked, "Hey, what's up with Derwin?" And he's like, "Guys, when I find out, you guys are going to be the first to know." So it sounds like it doesn't sound like it hasn't been resolved yet. Derwin still doesn't have a brand new contract. So Gilbert, at this point, should Charger fans be concerned a little bit about their possibly $100 million safety not receiving $100 million yet?
Well, if you're Brandon Staley, then take it up with the GM. Pay Derwin James, and the questions will stop. So I don't know what's a holdup there. I think there should be a little concern. Obviously, Derwin James is great at what he does. He probably doesn't need to practice that much. But when he plays like five positions and pretty much the entire defense is brand new, you want to have some team drills, some team reps, get some chemistry going. And also, it's very hard. I know Derwin James is in top shape, but it's very hard just to go into a season with no training camp. Like we get the whole preseason thing. They don't. A lot of stars don't play in preseason, but they get the reps at least in training camp. And for Derwin not to have that, and then not to do what Khalil Mack, JC Jackson, and like JC and Derwin are supposed to have this whole kind of package together, and they're not getting to work on it. So I would say a little alarming, Fernando. I don't know what you think, but for me, seeing from the outside, I'm far now. We're both far.
Yeah.
It's a little concerning.
4 years, Derwin James has been in the NFL. 2 out of those four, he's gotten hurt during training camp. I think it's fine. I think Derwin's smart enough. I think Derwin has I think he has a doctorate in the Brandon Staley defense. I think he'll be fine. The only thing is, like you said, he's mixing it now. He hasn't had this talent. It's now Khalil Mack. They're going to be packages where Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Derwin James are on one side,
Mm-hmm.
or Khalil Mack and Derwin are on one side, something like that, or stuff like that. So yeah, I do understand that point of view. But I just think for right now, let Derwin just get the mental reps. If I'm not going to be concerned until that Dallas joint practice, because that's going to be that's kind of like their preseason game for the Chargers and the Chargers. I know, Dan and Dago knows. We all know that Justin Herbert and Brandon said it too. If we know you and we know what you can do, you are not playing in preseason. So they said that last year, and Jerry Tillery didn't play at all. So that was a concern. But this year, I think they're going to stick true to their gun. So it's not concerning. If they get to that Cowboys game and he's still not signed, concerning. Gilbert, right now, the 49ers are having Jimmy G comes in the morning. the 49ers practice in the afternoon. Jimmy G is not practicing with a team. They want it to be Trey Lance's team. It is not Jimmy G's team. They just want Trey Lance. Good idea, bad idea. What do you think about this?
It's kind of awkward, you know,
And Ian
overall.
Rappaport, sorry, real quick. Ian Rappaport, you're going to say I hit my bingo. Ian Rappaport said on the Pat McAfee show that it's
Bingo.
been an up and down Trey Lance over the weekend, that it was up and down, a little more iffy than positive, but that's what you're going to get with a second-year quarterback who didn't play that much in college. So you're going to have to take the bad with the good, and I feel like this is okay because you want to usher in his era. But I think they need to start finding a new home for Jimmy G. But I'm going to let you take this away.
Well, before I get going to that, Fernando, I'm going to say anytime you mention Jerry Tillery, Ronda Rousey, and Pat McAfee show, the show should end. That's a trifecta. We're done here for the day. So try to avoid all three in one show.
I haven't done Ronda yet, but if you want to, I can. Because I have some news on I have some WWE news.
So for another day. But on the whole Jimmy G, Trey Lance, it's a little awkward, but I like the move of saying, hey, it's all in on Trey Lance time, you know, bad or not, you got to go because he was a third overall pick in the draft. You invested so much in that capital to get that first pick to move up to get Trey Lance. And yeah, I get that point. And it's awkward. And also with Jimmy G, you know, that guy's he's a professional. He's a veteran. He doesn't start drama, you know, besides in his dating life. We don't have to go into that, which is not even drama. That's his pedo. But Jimmy G is a professional. It's not a problem. And I know they got into this weird situation because Jimmy G had surgery and they couldn't get him traded. But I also kind of like that the 49ers are holding on just in case something happens out there in the landscape of quarterbacks. Somebody gets hurt. We're already talking about some quarterbacks feeling pain. And that's when you trade them and you get kind of something out of it. But if nothing happens in the next couple of weeks, you're going to have to release them and you get nothing for it. So, you know, I think holding on to the end is not a bad idea.
Gilbert, moving on. Aaron Rodgers is trying a new cleanse, ayahuasca. It's hold on. Who's shoot? It's something close to.
I don't even know what you're trying to say, Fernando.
No, I am. It was ayahuasca. There you go. So it's ayahuasca. It's basically something from South America. He went to Peru, and it's this like spiritual medicine that you take. It's kind of religious, and it helped him block out the negative. And it's a whole cleanse where you don't like. It's like you don't have sex, you don't do sugar, you don't do this, and you do all this other stuff. And some NFL people were thinking that he may get fined for taking this because it's like as a cleanse. And he talked about it's a beverage or whatever, and he said that he obviously that they didn't think it was going to be a violation of the drug policy, and it's not. But is this something you would do? I mean, he's been very spiritual the last few years and doing all kinds of. He did another cleanse, I think, where you throw up for 5 days and then you have diarrhea for 5 days, and it cleans out your body and stuff. So he's done all kinds of different things like this. Would you rather the drink the religious drink that he's doing, or would you rather the 5 days of vomiting and the 5 days of diarrhea?
I wouldn't do anything that Aaron Rodgers is doing nowadays. He's been a different cat in the last year or two. So I don't even want to list the things he's done.
That's who he is.
He's a weirdo. I feel like. Last year he was going to Hawaii with actors, and then his engagement is called off. I forget what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with him, and I'll just stay away from that one for now. Let's move on to the next one.
So we got two quick ones. Kareem Hunt requests a trade, and then 2 days later he's back in practice. If you had to choose one team for Kareem Hunt to go to if traded, I don't think they're going to do it because I think Deshaun Watson could be suspended the whole season, and they're going to need that run game to go. Where would you like to see Kareem Hunt go?
Nowhere. Stop complaining, Kareem Hunt. You are a backup running back. You're not Nick Chubb. Why are you causing trouble right now? I found out that he makes $6 million as a running back, and that's pretty much like top 10 in the NFL right now. You're a backup making top 10 money. What else do you want? And you're the most running back friendly offense in the NFL. Just play. Sorry, Fernando. I had to say that.
I would love to see him on Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay with Kareem Hunt would be a lot of fun to watch.
Keep him, Browns.
Well, yeah, exactly.
In the doghouse.
Last one, Gilbert. There's been a lot of flirting, I think, with Odell Beckham Jr. By the way, Odell Beckham Jr. shared a really nice picture a couple of days ago with his wife or with his girlfriend or wife and their son. Really nice picture. But Gilbert, he's been flirting around a lot with teams. I mean, there's been talking about the Rams, the Packers, the Ravens. Today on Monday, he answered a post of Von Miller and Buffalo Bills Von Miller, and he said, "Hey, how's that locker looking next to you?" Now let's remember, Von Miller was a big reason why he decided to come to the LA Rams last offseason. Gilbert, could you see Odell Beckham Jr. in a Buffalo Bills uniform next season?
Yeah, definitely. I know the Rams are pushing hard to get Odell Beckham Jr., but like I've always thought, like, obviously you could be close with somebody and want to make it work, but Odell's gonna take care of himself and get that money. So if the Bills are paying, he's gonna do it.
Man, can you imagine him on the Buffalo? The Buffalo Bills would have no excuses at all. Like you're going complete. Like you're already going all in. That's like going all in and borrowing your best friend. Hey, bro, can I have some money to go really completely all in? So it's like that scene in Fast and Furious 5 where the two friends are at the end of the movie. They're in Monaco and they put all their money on the roulette. So this is definitely going to get interesting with Buffalo, but. You know what else is interesting, Gilbert? We got Marc Sessler on. He's going to preview the AFC North. What's up with Cincinnati? What's up with Pittsburgh? Do they have a quarterback? Do they not have a quarterback? He's going to answer all that and more. So now let's go with him. Now it's time to introduce our big time guest. He's not just big time because he's a host of Around the NFL podcast. He's also a big time guest because he used to be pen pals with Bill Belichick. I'm of course talking about the great Marc Sessler. Marc with a C. Welcome to the show. And are you still exchanging letters with the head coach of the Patriots?
No, that faded away a long time ago. It's, I wasn't a boy, at least, though. I was in college when that happened. And I bugged him over the course of a couple years. I'd send him stuff all the time, and I get these letters back. And they were very like nicely typewritten with his signature and like really in depth. I was like, does this guy have this much time to write back to me? And like, I was convinced ultimately that it was his administrative assistant who went on to be, Nick Saban's administrative assistant at Alabama. So in the end, I was confirmed that he did read the letters, that he did at least understand that I was a human being. But I'm still kind of convinced this admin that she was the author of much of it because it was too in depth and too quick to respond sometimes too. But I also have heard that Bill Belichick has written letters to tons of other people during that time and in other years. So it remains a bit of a mystery to me.
Gilbert, I'm Compas on the beat. We're breaking news. Bill Belichick has a heart. We're breaking that today. Bill Belichick has a heart.
I think Marc, he does, man. I think he does.
I just picture Bill Belichick in his office, pacing back and forth, dictating the letter to the assistant to write to you. So
right.
I think that counts in some way, Marc. But Marc, before we start asking about other football players, we got to ask about your football career at Ridgefield High School. Standout career, very decorated. I think 1 tackle and 3 missed tackles. Is that correct, Marc? We have the picture right here.
Wow.
How were you as a football player? Can you describe what type of player you were at Ridgefield High?
Undersized, not very fast. I specialized in missed tackles or being sort of out of position because I played Pop Warner and they let me play running back. And for me, that kind of worked because it's like, here's the play and I know where I need to go. I was often, blocking for someone else, but it was like when I went to high school, I was just small. And so they put me at cornerback and I was like, I don't get this position. I don't know where I'm supposed to be ever. If you don't have the athletic skill set to start with, you're behind the 8 ball. And so it was a short-lived career. And our school had a television station. It was like a closed circuit cable type thing. And so I quickly decided I would much rather write about the football team than be written about on the football team, making a variety of mistakes. So I think by like sophomore year, I made the switch. So it was a very quick career.
What I heard you were it sounds like you were a two-way star though, cornerback, running back, fullback too. So you're doing it all.
Yeah, I mean, over the course of years, that was true. I think it was more like, where do we put this person? I think that's probably more the vibe.
Well, you did well for yourself, Marc, writing about football. We've done kind of the same thing, similar path. Us journalists kind of do that. They try something, it's better to write about it. But thanks for being on the show, Marc. Sure. And we have you on to preview the AFC North. I kind of feel bad at making you do this because you are now a former Browns fan. We'll get into that later. But you know the North pretty well. So let's get to it with some questions on the 4 teams, Mark. And we'll start with the Bengals, AFC champions, defending AFC champions, lost in the Super Bowl to the Rams. But Mark, that was kind of a surprise run. I don't know if it's fluky, but do you kind of picture Joe Burrow with a new offensive line, making more magic and defending the AFC crown?
I love the way that they have built around Joe Burrow over the course of a couple of seasons. It was like last year's offseason was just to continue to get him more weapons. And that could not have worked out any better. With Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, I would argue that's the best wide receiver trio in the AFC. And then this offseason, because, to get to the Super Bowl with the way that the right side of that line was playing was a miracle in itself. And for him to take 70 sacks over the course of a year, that just simply cannot be duplicated. So when you get Ted Karras, you get Alex Kappa, and I know Lyle Collins right now is dealing with the back issue, but assuming that he is ready to go week 1, you've rebuilt the right side of the line. You've patched over your biggest weakness, and I think that's just arrow up for Joe Burrow in general. And just Joe Burrow, to me, I think is like a top 3-4 quarterback in the league, who we have not even seen his peak yet. And so I don't think what happened last year was a fluke. I think it was just we saw a team grow, gel, come together very quickly towards the end of the season, because there were outbursts during the year, especially I think back to how they had beatdowns against the Ravens. We had Marlon Humphreys on during our Super Bowl show here in LA, and he expressed just frustration that those games they were out of control. I know the Ravens were banged up too, but when you started to see the Bengals offensively just beat people down, it suggested a completely different type of team than the one that started the season. And so I don't think that the playoff run was fluky at all, because also it's the defense. They're returning essentially everyone on defense. And so I think the overall starting roster is very good. There could be some depth issues if there were injuries here or there, but that's so true of each of these teams in the North. I went in last year with big questions about Zach Taylor as head coach, just, hadn't seen anything. And I thought he answered all those questions. So I think the Bengals, it's weird because for a team that went to the Super Bowl, they're a little overlooked. I think it's like they're not the first team people are talking about. It's Kansas City, it's Buffalo. Everyone sort of ticketed Buffalo for the AFC title game and beyond. I like that for the Bengals because you don't want it to go to your heads. They're a young team, and it's kind of like, cool, we're still being forgotten, but we're still talented, and everything we did last year, we could duplicate again this season.
Yeah, and Mark, going off of that, you mentioned the defense. It's not a lot of big names, but they get it done. They landed a good one in Trey Hendrickson last year. I know they have some contract issues with Jesse Bates, but a solid safety, but a lot of talented defensive players, and that kind of gets overlooked too. I guess, how would you describe this defense, and what makes them kind of go to kind of complement the Joe Burrow offense?
They are very good complementary players around each other too, because Trey Hendrickson, I guess, has been dominating in camp, and he was a great pickup last year. I think guys like, you said it's not big names, but like BJ Hill really started to come on along the line last year. I think that the cornerback group is phenomenal. And in the reports, from the Athletic and stuff, and from the daily camp reports, that the cornerbacks have been sensational all camp, and they're just stacked at that position. I think they're kind of built to take on Kansas City, to take on Buffalo. And we saw what they did against Tennessee as well. And I mean, honestly, in that Super Bowl, the Rams made their plays, but that wasn't an offensive explosion by Los Angeles. So I think the secondary is an absolute strength. In today's NFL, like, you need to have 4 or 5 cornerbacks that can do it. And they have Jesse Bates' situation is key, but they've got other depth at safety too. So I just love the secondary, and any team built that way on defense, I really think is set up to succeed in 2022.
Mark, the final installation of the 2004 quarterback draft class is gone. Big Ben, last one to retire. Now it's who's going to play quarterback for the Steelers. I mean, they brought in Mitch Trubisky. There's been some reports that he's been a little off. They drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round, and then obviously Mason Rudolph is still there. Can you make sense of it? Who do you think could be the starting quarterback week 1 when the Pittsburgh Steelers trot out to the field? I
think what they want is not for Mason Rudolph to bubble up and take over the position. I think that's been sort of a training camp thing that was unexpected. He wasn't even mentioned, a couple months ago. I think they want Mitch Trubisky to start. They have him under contract for 2 years. They went out and intentionally got him. And I think that's how it will play out. I think he's sort of in position to do that at this point. Kenny Pickett's camp has been real up and down. He's looked like a rookie. But I think if you're the Steelers, you're going to get that Mason Rudolph inconsistency early on that I could see Kenny Pickett coming in and starting by the end of the first month of the season if he's actually ready to go. Because, I mean, you don't want to throw him into the fire if it's unnecessary. It's not that I'm not writing the season off for the Steelers because they're the kind of team that could go win 9 or 10 games with all sorts of malarkey unfolding. But I think that you're going to see, it's one of these teams kind of reminds me of the Seahawks. I think every quarterback on the roster is going to probably log a start or two. And I mean, in theory, if Mitch Trubisky, I know they had all these glowing reports coming out of the Bills experience, but it's still Mitch Trubisky in my book. And so in a tough division, I think against tough defenses, he's going to struggle. And I think we're going to want to look and see what Kenny Pickett is, but that may not come as early as I previously thought, just because the last couple of weeks of reports around Kenny Pickett have been really shaky.
Yeah, no, and I mean, obviously, I think in his career, Mike Tomlin does not have a losing season, hasn't registered one. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. But do you think they're going to kind of have to lean on that defense a little bit more? I mean, they kind of have in years past, but do you feel like a little bit more because there is no Big Ben? They're going to have to lean on that defense with Cam Hayward and all those guys and TJ Watt and all those guys?
I think they'd like to. I mean, I think that's what their identity is. Although last year the defense fell off a little bit. I like the signing of Miles Jack. Larry Ogunjobi can help. I don't know if they're a little shallow at outside linebacker. If there was an injury to TJ Watt on that front, they'd be in real trouble on the pass rushing front. So I don't know if it's like you're just going to go out there and dominate like in years past. They're a little bit of a different defense right now. I really love their wide receivers though. Actually, I mean, if you look at, you've got Chase Claypool, Dante Johnson, and George Pickens out of Georgia. He's looked really good in camp, and I think he's an absolute steal. And we know that the Steelers are great at developing wide receivers. So if you get halfway decent quarterback play with Pat Freiermuth at tight end, there are weapons. It's just that I think in a post Big Ben world, there hasn't been a question mark under center for Pittsburgh like this since prior to Big Ben, obviously. So it's a real new experience for Tomlin and crew.
Now, Mark, before we get to the Cleveland Browns, I have a big question for you because you are a free agent as a fan, and it felt like the leading contender was Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Have you made a decision on which team you're going to root for in 2022?
I'm going to just let it. When we used to do a Team of ATN on our podcast, it started with, it really was a Chris Wessling out of the gate thing where he fell in love with a Carolina Panthers team from way back, and it happened organically. It didn't happen in the preseason. It took about a month of the regular season to unfold for that romance to bloom between Wes and the Panthers. And we all kind of adopted it and jumped on. I just feel that way too. I want to just sort of see how it goes. The Chargers, to me though, number one, living here in LA, I have kids. We could go to a Chargers game if we wanted to. The fact that it's Justin Herbert who's going to be there hopefully for like 10, 12 years, it's an attractive idea, but I just haven't come to a final decision on that one.
We'll be waiting for that, Mark. And I always like to know
Hold
the
your
team
breath.
of ATN for the season. But get into the Browns, and we could just stick to the quarterback, I guess, here because we know how good the defense is. But I guess how do you see this playing out, or just overall for the Browns? Because I think it all kind of dictates on the quarterback. There was a suspension for 6 games. They're appealing. It's all messy, as you know, Mark. Jacoby Brissett being the backup. Can this go sideways really quick, regardless of who's at quarterback?
I think it could. I guess we're waiting to see what happens with Deshaun Watson, but I would ticket that in my guess would be it's going to be 12 games. I think that's what the league is really pushing for. I think that there's going to be a big money fine for Deshaun Watson, and I'm guessing about 12 games. That puts Cleveland in a real hole. I mean, what they've talked about at camp is that whenever it's been Jacoby Brissett on the field, that the passes have been short. They've been dominated by the cornerbacks. They've got like Greg Newsome, their second-year corner, has been absolutely dominant in camp. They've got Denzel Ward as well. So I think that it's been one of the typical cases where the offense has not caught up to the defense whenever Brissett's been in there. They've got an awesome offensive line. They've got a great pair of running backs. If Kareem Hunt can stay, relatively appeased with his contract situation, but he's going nowhere at this point. They're not going to trade him, or they could switch some of his money to be more guaranteed. But that was a very odd time to decide to hold in, and it didn't work. But that's what their bread and butter was, with Baker Mayfield. And I think they can go out and win games that way, like 16-13, those type of operations. But I think this is a lost year for the team if you lose Watson for as much as it could be. And frankly, like, I think it's going to really test the mettle of the rest of the roster to survive. I know they have a lot of top heavy starry type players, but I don't love this. I don't love the Browns roster overall. I just don't. I think like I wouldn't trust them to go win more games than the Baltimore Ravens. Let's put it that way. I mean, I don't think I've heard people ticket them for the division title. I guess if you got a full season from Deshaun Watson, that's in play, but that's not happening. So to me, I think it's going to really test them, who they are. Kevin Stefanski's in a tough spot. And I really think it's almost like about 2023 at this point versus 2022.
Yeah, no. And I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Stefanski can keep his job, especially with whatever he does this year. But Mark, what do you think is going on? It seems like the Ravens have a weird that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens brass have a weird relationship. Last year, it was the Ravens wanted to get a contract done. He said, chill out, guys. Let's relax. This year, it seems like he's the one that wants to get it done. And the Ravens are kind of like, you know what? Let's relax a little bit. Let's see what's going to happen. Ultimately, what do you think happens with this marriage between my bad. What do you think happens with this dating between the Ravens and Lamar? Will they put a ring on it, or do you think Lamar will look elsewhere?
I almost think they're engaged, because they've been together for a long time. There's been a lot of ups, there's been a few downs, but I don't see a split, just because to me, if to gamble on anything like team and franchise quarterback, I don't see a split in general. And I don't think that's what this is about. I think Lamar Jackson has been pretty chill about it. I think they could always franchise tag him if they needed to. I mean, I don't see a divorce, because I think the Ravens are all in on Lamar Jackson, the player. Some of the questions people have about his style and the offense that the Baltimore runs in general, I don't think Baltimore has those questions at all. If anything, when you go draft Tyler Linderbaum, like, you're doubling down on your run heavy approach. Yep. And I think that someone like him is key to what they want to do this year. And, they were 8-3 a year ago until the floor fell out. I mean, they've got to 8-3 with such a rash of injuries that it just said so much to me about John Harbaugh and the Ravens in general. So I think everything's fine. I think if anything, there's a lot of optimism to come out with a healthy cast of characters this time around. And again, this kind of reminds me of the Bengals. Like, I don't hear people talk about the Ravens that much. It's like, they could win this division. There's just no reason they couldn't. I mean, this is the kind of division I think 10 wins might win it. It's going to be an ugly season. And the Ravens, what they did last year under such duress, like that other teams would have just broken. And they did not till the very end.
Yeah, no, 100%. And with that defense, it seems like they have some older guys on the team with Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, Tony Jefferson, guys like that. But then they brought in Marcus Williams. They drafted Kyle Hamilton. They brought in some pieces. Do you feel like that defense is going to be a lot better if it's at least healthy in 2022?
I do, just because you look at how many games were lost by starters a year ago, especially in that secondary. They had like Raggedy Ann starting games by like December. So I just love I love their secondary. It kind of reminds me of Cincinnati. I think that's how you win games in the NFL right now. And Marcus Williams was an awesome addition. I think if you're Kyle Hamilton, it's almost like, who do you ticket to start in all these games? I think they're all going to play a ton. Kyle Hamilton feels like such a Ravens draft pick, and you just trust them to develop and turn these players into stars. So I do like their defense. I think that they've got, their depth is a little better than some other teams. And I don't know if I love their pass rush necessarily, but when you have got a great secondary, obviously that amplifies what you can do to rush the passer.
All right, Gilbert, time for all the boring stuff out of the way. Let's get to the fun stuff.
You read my mind. Mark, great stuff on the analysis of being a football mind here. I could tell those letters from Bill Belichick paid off. You know your stuff, Mark, so thank you very much. But we're excited about this portion of the show because we know you're a big Star Wars fan. So are we. And we saw this tweet from 2019 where you ranked all 9 Star Wars movies.
Oh, wow.
And some people are not happy here from this program. I like it. I agree with you. I think
not me.
The last 3
it's my brother. My brother loves Revenge of the Sith. So he's like, why does Mark have it all the way down?
Well, how old is your brother?
He's about 23, 24.
Yeah, there's a total split between, and I get this. Like,
I love your top 3 to me. That's how I have it. Those 3 movies are iconic.
Yeah, I think like the top 3 is not controversial. But there's nostalgia in there because I think Return of the Jedi was maybe plot wise not as heavy hitting as some of these others. But my issue with the prequels, like I was, about 25 when they came out. And I spent 15 years waiting for the Phantom Menace or whatever it was going to be named. You didn't know until the end. And when I sat in the theater in the first 10 minutes, I was just like, wait, am I on acid? Is this a joke? And it never got any better. So I do acknowledge though that Revenge of the Sith, I would put it higher than I have it here actually, because I've lost interest in the Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi to me have major issues. In fact, The Rise of Skywalker might be the worst of them all.
Yeah.
So are we ranking then, Mark? Is that what we're hearing?
I would take a different look at this now. I mean, I don't know what sort of substances were in my body when I did this tweet either, but the Rise of Skywalker.
Seemed, when you had to because they had to switch directors with Rian Johnson, it seemed like Rian Johnson didn't know what the hell he was doing. And then for the Rise of Skywalker, it felt like J.J. Abrams was kind of like, okay, let me try and fix this, but let me bring back Han Solo and let me bring back some of the old. And it's like, dude, it's just it didn't work. Why did you have to bring back Palpatine because Rian Johnson obviously killed off the main villain halfway through The Last Jedi, so Snoke or whatever. So it was just those two movies were just nuts.
Yeah, each director left the next director in a worse position, and so for Abrams to come back and try to fix all of that, there's a moment, and I can't even remember that movie. That tells you a lot about it. But there's a moment where they're racing across a desert, and they crash and fall into a pit. And then they find that special the Sith knife that leads them on the rest of the adventure. It's what if that vehicle had crashed a mile up the desert? I mean, then nothing happens, and it's just it was too many convenient plot points. And if you go watch The Empire Strikes Back, the plot is extremely simple. It's just based off of true human actions, and I thought that they got way too bizarre with the sequel trilogy, and so I don't know. The bottom 4 or 5 to me all have issues.
Somebody in your comments had put that they felt like The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones was the boom of video games, so they try to make it video game-esque, those two movies, and to sell the toys and sell all that stuff, and they felt like maybe that's why it was made that way. But I just thought the Phantom, I mean, Attack of the Clones, the only thing that kind of saves it is that you get to see Yoda fight with a lightsaber, but other than that, it was just the plot, and the plot in both movies was just a little off to me. It just didn't feel like The Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, and then obviously Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I think it's just you can't, they made the decision, George Lucas, to go back in and make 6 more of these, and that there's no way they could ever live up to what the first 3 built up in people's hearts and minds, and really what it meant for cinema and all this other business. So this list is
Ryan Johnson. I don't even remember tweeting this, but Ryan Johnson's getting 3 movies. So I think they're gonna go through those 3 movies. It's gonna be bad. Then they're gonna come back to the Skywalkers again. And
Fernando, we could be here all day. Mark is a busy man.
Well, I wanted to ask him one more question. What did you think about the Obi-Wan show?
See, I like that. I think that's for me the better way to do this is because you're not hanging everything on this one 2-hour movie. It's you've got a chance to experiment a little bit and tell different stories in an episodic television way. I just thought that was such an easier to watch. And to me, the Obi-Wan was, it was up and down story-wise, but for me, I was really happy to see Ewan McGregor come back and get that chance to play that role. Because one thing about the prequels was I love Natalie Portman. I love Ewan McGregor. There's great actors in that. And I thought that if anything, Ewan McGregor expressed frustration with a lot of the lines and the way that was filmed, the prequels. And so I think for him, this meant a lot. And you could see he was excellent as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that part of it was really rewarding, I thought.
And then I feel bad for Hayden Christensen because he comes out and he's like, yeah, I've watched those movies and I just feel like I was terrible in them. And that was one of my criticisms was I thought I didn't think he was that good. I thought he sounded a little whiny and I just didn't like his performance. But Mark, I'm sorry, Gilbert's right. I could be here all day talking to you about this. So Gilbert's gonna have to rein me back in.
No, we're done here, Mark. I'm sorry. I feel like you're Mark Hamill and Fernando's a big Star Wars fan, just trying to hound you and all that. But we're good. I think we like the re-ranking. We're all right here on the show. So thank you for your analysis on Star Wars and AFC North, and thank you for giving us the insight on the pen pals with Bill Belichick. So we really appreciate you.
You guys
don't forget to follow him at Marc Sessler, NFL around the NFL podcast. He's all around. He's got great takes. Don't forget, he's still gonna choose who his favorite team is and who he's gonna root for this season. And And we can't wait to see more Star Wars takes from you, Mark. I can't wait to see that on Twitter as well.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate coming on. And if I put any more absurd lists out there, I'll be happy to come on and chat with you about them.
What a great breakdown by the Compas with our special guest from NFL Network's very own Marc Sessler. It's going to be interesting to see. Can the Browns, what are the Browns going to do? Are they going to be the same old Browns? Who's going to finish in that division? Maybe the Bengals repeat? I have no idea, but we shall see. But don't you forget, before we get to your favorite segment with your favorite boy, speaking of which, you also know I am your favorite promo reader. So if you'd like to sponsor the program with the Compas, don't be afraid. Reach out to us. Slide in them DMs, the emails, the inboxes, the whatever you want. The email is compasonthebeat@gmail.com. You already know your boy coaches offensive line, so he likes to eat what? Burritos. What? Tacos. What? I'm drinking my Diet Cokes. What? Maybe some Diet Pepsi when I mix it in. What? Whiskey. What? You already know your boys like Modelo's. What are we doing, Modelo? We're Hispanic. Reach out to us. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get to the next segment, which your favorite boy is on. We are going to answer all your NFC North questions. See if the Vikings take the next step. Are you as hyped as me after that Hard Knocks video went viral? Let's freaking go. No more delay. Let's get to it.
Gilbert, I feel like we should last week we should have popped some bottles or some of that confetti, thrown it up in the air. It was our inaugural episode of Combat Compas. I thought it was a huge success. We had Triple G on, Gennady Golovkin. Gilbert, it was such a fun interview. And guys, if you guys haven't checked that out, go and watch it on YouTube or go listen to it. The YouTube version is so much fun, especially because Gennady really shows a little bit more personality with us. And I thought that was pretty cool to see, Gilbert.
Yeah, a pretty good debut of Combat Compas with Gennady Triple G Golovkin. So, I thought we did everything we wanted to do. We got the star guest, and then we got to talk some wrestling, more boxing, UFC, and that's what we wanted to do. Yeah, what? And yeah, what we noticed, we like to kind of break up both videos. One for just the interview Triple G, and that did really well. We're excited. We're happy. But we also noticed that people were liking the full Combat Compas episode. So, we expect more of that. Let us know you want to see more of that because there are some big fights coming up, and I can't wait to do more of that.
Yeah, no, and obviously it's a big thing for us because we love combat and combat sports and everything. And guys, we have some really cool stuff cooking up for Combat Compas. I mean, regular Compas and everything, yeah, but right now talking about Combat Compas, we have some really cool interviews cooking, and we definitely are very excited about the direction that we're taking Combat Compas. We can't reveal everything right now, but you guys are if you guys were excited about Gennady Golovkin, there's going to be some other stuff that you guys are going to get very excited about. But speaking of excitement, Gilbert, I know you get excited when a certain individual comes on, and so I had to bring him on right now so that he talks he breaks down the NFC North with us.
Guess who's here? Guess who is here to brighten your day? Gilbert Gold! If your day was cloudy, I just removed it and had a whole ray of sunshine hit your face. You're welcome.
You need to work on your evil laugh. You had like one high, and then you kind of just died out after that. You faded, man.
Dude, I was running around at practice today. My breathing,
okay.
I don't think Gilbert could take any more sun.
I cannot. My body cannot. But should I call you Coach Dan and Dago now? Do you have the whistle?
No. Oh, I got it. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Can you give me your favorite saying as a coach right now? What are you going with? What is your go-to saying as a coach?
One of my favorites right now is practice how you play. So I don't.
That's been taken.
Without expletives, I essentially say, in practice, we're here to work. We're not here to play, right? They need to focus, get ready to go for games, and they need to show up like professionals and kick somebody's ass. I can't stand grab ass. Wow. I can't stand it. I see it in the classroom. I see it on the field, and it drives me crazy. I won't stand for it.
You are perfect for this preview because Dan Campbell is pretty much you. So we're glad we're talking NFC North right now.
Speaking of which, Dan and Dago will be making his coaching debut this weekend on Saturday. Coronado High School takes on El Capitan.
Yeah, El Capitan.
So Dan and Dago on Saturday at 8 p.m. will be doing his coaching debut, but should be an exciting one. It'll be fun to see him going from on the field to coaching on the sideline. So
it's actually funny, Hilberto, quick story. The first time I made some guys do up downs because they false started, I told this to Frau and I was laughing my ass off. I told him it completely reminded me of the movie you hate because you're an abomination of a human being. Remember the Titans? And it's when Denzel Washington. Hold on, don't interrupt me. I'm telling my story. Thank you. It's when Denzel Washington goes, "We're gonna do up downs until Blue is no longer thirsty and tired." So I thought that was hilarious. It made me laugh.
You just steal all your material from coaches and movies. Is that what you do, Dan and Dago?
No, you know what's funny? The movie I quote the most isn't even a football movie.
What is it? Is it Breakfast Club? You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
No. You know which one I do, especially for offensive linemen? I tell them they need to watch the 300, and this is why, before you think I'm crazy. The 300, right, is the perfect analogy for offensive line play. In the 300, they take on, it's 300 Spartans against a few thousand, 100,000, whatever, Persians. But the tactics that the Spartans use is that they line up shoulder to shoulder, and because they're so effective working together, they eliminate thousands of Persians. They make the siege last for days, you know what I mean? And that's what I tell them, that it's like, hey, dude, you have to work together just like the Spartans, give up zero ground and work together and be violent.
Look at that. He's giving you a lesson in this, but obviously, guys, let's get to our good luck this weekend, Dan. We're excited to see what you got this weekend. I know Gilbert will be.
I will not play hard for him, by the way, after listening to that.
You're a scumbag. You're a scumbag.
All right. Well, let me get this back together. So let's talk NFC North. Obviously, it's the Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, and the Detroit Lions. Let's start with the defending champion Green Bay Packers. What and you guys have about a minute, so about a minute I'll give you guys. Dan, let's start with you. Is the window closing on Aaron Rodgers, and how much do you think it hurts that he lost Devontae Adams?
100%. I think the window is signed, sealed, delivered. Put a brick wall on that thing and cement. It's done. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere. I personally thought it was stupid he returned to Green Bay. That was my opinion. He should have tried to wiggle his way into Tennessee or a different contending team. But, of course, the stooge over there is going to complain. The AFC's too loaded. Okay, fine. Sorry for making him trying to compete on a better team, but that's cool. But, who does he have left? Lazard and some of these other random guys, which they in turn get hurt at all times of the year also. I personally I don't think he can be like a Brady or like he made guys like Edelman, Amendola, and some of these and Chris Hogan, I don't think he can really elevate that game, in my opinion. He's going to need a good run game and an even better defense.
Gilbert?
You give him 20 seconds, he still takes it. He was almost done. But yeah, I kind of agree with Dan and Dago. I don't know. There we go. High five. I've seen this Aaron Rodgers movie one too many times in the playoffs. They win like 12 games to get the 1 seed, and then they don't really do much. And now you take away Devontae Adams from the picture with Adam Lazard and Sammy Watkins and rookie. I don't know. He doesn't have really a lot of weapons. Obviously, Aaron Jones is a good running back. He has a pretty reliable offensive line. The defense is not that bad. It's pretty good, Jair Alexander. But I've seen this show before, and when you take away the best wide receiver in the NFL, you would think he would kind of regress and get worse. But yeah, I'm not going to count out fully Aaron Rodgers. I'm surprised Daniel wants to see Aaron Rodgers in the AFC. So maybe you are a good coach. You want the best of the best. But overall, I think, the Packers might be done.
Okay, so we're going to I'm going to say that the window is still open, but just a little bit. I'm with you guys. I think Devontae Adams leaving hurts, but now it means that we're going to see if Aaron Rodgers can spread the ball the way he can. His favorite, from what I've seen, Romeo Dubes has been his favorite receiver during camp. I think he's a 6'5" receiver, a bigger receiver. I know he has Sammy Watkins and Randall Cobb, and he was pushing for Randall Cobb to come back last year. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have. The defense, what I'm really going to be looking at, I think their defense is one of the better defenses in the NFL. Maybe their defense can be their stable point this year, and Aaron Rodgers and the offense kind of take a step back. But I still think they're going to be up there. I just don't think they're better than the Rams, and I don't think they're better than the Bucs. So, but I definitely think their window's starting to close, especially because Aaron was asked the other day, do you want to play until you're 45? He said, heck no. Okay, there's one evidence. Two, Devontae Adams, like, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be here after this next year. Why do I want to be here? Okay, point taken. That's number two. So Aaron Rodgers is probably playing it by year. And that's why some guys are like, you know what, I'm out of here. Like, that's why Devontae Adams went to the Raiders. So I do think their window is closing as well. So I'm with you guys. Now you go to the Minnesota Vikings. This team has been up and down the last couple of years. New head coach, Kevin O'Connell. He's from the McVay system. Last year they won the Super Bowl with him as the offensive coordinator. Obviously there was a lot of tension between Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins. I know that there was a video where they won a game on the last second, and Kirk kind of shoved Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer had to be pulled back by a coach. So there was a lot of tension there. Kevin O'Connell obviously has been talking very positively about his quarterback. They have some weapons. Gilbert, I'll start with you. Do you feel like it'll be different this year because they have a Kevin O'Connell, a younger guy who gets it, who is around the same age as Kirk Cousins, and he's bringing a different style of offense, and he's an offensive-minded coach?
Yeah, the Mike Zimmer era got pretty stale. Yeah, he had some decent runs at the NFC Championship games, but it was pretty much based on the defense. And that year he had Stefanski on before he went to the Browns was pretty good. But for the most part, the offense has kind of been shaky. It's just like, okay, just throw it as many times as you want, or just give it to Dalvin Cook, and that's about it. It was very kind of Stephon Diggs or Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen, kind of that era. Now Kevin O'Connell has some creativity. He, went with Sean McVay, or he learned from Sean McVay. So, if you're gonna keep trying with Kirk Cousins, I don't know why they keep trying with Kirk Cousins every single year. They keep paying the guy every single year. You would think after a while they want to pull the plug. Like the Cousins and the Zimmer era should have probably ended together, but it hasn't. I'm gonna give it one more chance with Kevin O'Connell. But he's a first-year head coach, Fernando and Daniel. You being a coach now, it's hard to be a first-year head coach. You got to install a lot of new things. You got to get people on the same page, and you're working with players from a previous regime that might not fit your system. So, and that defense is very young. They have a lot of question marks, and they were pretty bad a year ago. Yeah, you got the pieces in Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson on offense, but the defense could be a little shaky. I know they drafted some young guys, but overall, I don't know how I feel about them. Maybe I don't even know if I can see them as a playoff team. But I think Kevin O'Connell will improve that offense, and maybe this could be the last chance for Kirk Cousins to actually do something.
Dan,
I think just to piggyback what he said, I think there is a lot of questions. The biggest thing is, can Dalvin Cook stay healthy, and can Kirk Cousins be efficient like we've seen him in the past? And to your point where you said, Zimmer's age should have ended with Cousins also. The only thing is, how these teams are, dude. They'll panic for quarterbacks. I don't even know why. Like, I'm a big believer personally, besides my bias. If I have, a salary cap or whatever, I'm putting it all into my front seven and my up five starting linemen. But it's going to be interesting to see what they can, because I think personally this is their best time. You have Chicago as a young quarterback. They don't know what they're doing. They have a new head coach. And, I think there might be some dents in the Packers shield. So this might be the year for someone to sneak in possibly. I don't think who knows, like, if they don't win the division, who knows if they're even a wild card team? Because if Call of Duty doesn't come out this year, Arizona could sneak in again. So we'll see.
I'm going to go with, I think this is probably their best chance, like Dan said, for them to make some noise. The only thing is that I feel like everybody, Gilbert and I don't know if I'm wrong on this, I feel like everybody's kind of gearing up for this quarterback class coming up. There's a lot of talent in this quarterback class. Yeah. There's about 5 or 6 potential first-round draft pick quarterbacks, and I feel like the Vikings could be one of these teams that try and get one of these young quarterbacks this upcoming season, especially if Kirk Cousins doesn't work out. But I feel like Kevin O'Connell's the perfect coach for this kind of system. where he brings in a new system. He tries to exploit the best out of Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, we have to remember, he's only going into his third year. He could still get a lot better. He feels like he's going to be a lot better. So I'm definitely excited to see kind of what he's going to bring. Dalvin Cook, like Dan said, if Dalvin Cook can stay healthy, they should be pretty good. Their corners are a little bit of what I'm a little worried about, just because it's Patrick Peterson. He is getting older. Harrison Smith is a safety. He's getting older. Some of these guys are getting older, and they're kind of not replenishing and getting younger on defense. The one key that they got, though, remember, is Darius Smith was with the Packers. He went to Baltimore. Something happened in Baltimore where his contract was voided, so he jumped back and went to the Vikings. So I think that's going to add some juice to their pass rushing. But I think that this is going to be their best chance probably to catch the Packers in a while. Let's move on to the Chicago Bears. Matt Eberflus, obviously, Gilbert and I both know him because he was with the Indianapolis Colts as a DC. He interviewed for the Chargers head coaching job. Gilbert, if I'm not mistaken, twice he interviewed, right? He had 2 interviews with them.
He was one of the top candidates for that job.
Yeah. So and he gets the Bears job. This isn't your dad's 1985 Bears defense. This isn't an offense run by Jim McMahon. This is a team that I think is starting to notice that they're in a rebuild, and I feel sorry for Justin Jefferson because that offensive line looks bad. Justin Fields. Sorry, Justin Fields. Justin Fields, just because the offensive line is looking bad, the defense doesn't look that good, and then the receivers, I think they have 5 hurt receivers right now.
I'm gonna say, Fernando, can you name one healthy receiver, and can you even name a receiver at all?
Neil Harry, the guy from the Patriots that they traded for.
But he's hurt.
Yeah, no.
You got one. You got one healthy.
Daryl Morey's their star receiver in a sense.
Also hurt.
So, also hurt. Yep, exactly. So, Dan, what are our real expectations for the Bears this season? What do you expect from them with all these question marks?
I think the biggest thing is that maybe Detroit doesn't finish in the bottom of the division this year, but who knows? Honestly, like that's the biggest question mark. Like.
Dan's going with a little Cameron Wolf.
What?
You're going with a little Cameron Wolf, where he's like, "Oh, the Patriots might not finish."
Yeah,
much different from the Jets.
Exactly. Who knows where this MCDC train is stopping? But honestly, like my biggest question mark, like always, huge offensive line guy. Could not be more focused on that. Can they keep this guy up? Because I think they're the ones who signed Michael Schofield, right? They got Michael Schofield,
former Charger.
I am very intimate with this man. Bears fans, you should be a little bit worried. I'm going to tell you that. It's like watching pigs on skates, dude. He's getting back there. Sorry, I shouldn't bury him. That's on me. Look what happens when I hang out with you. You infect me.
All right, Daniel.
I start pulling out shovels for people. But I heard Ralphie and another name earlier, so I can bury.
All right, Gilbert, what do you think?
Okay, all I'm going to do is try to pronounce his wide receiver's name, who's healthy, is Equanimeous St. Brown. Ever heard of him?
Oh, yeah. You know who those are the 3 St. Brown brothers from LA.
Oh, they're related?
Wait, wasn't that guy in Detroit?
No, that's the other one. Amon Ra St. Brown. They're 3 brothers who are like the Ball brothers of football. They're from LA. Their father was a Marine. And he has all 3 of them in the NFL now.
Let's go.
Well, he's one of the receivers. But, I'll just go with this. I feel bad for Justin Fields. No playmakers around them. Who's their running back? Dave Montgomery, right? He's still the guy. He hasn't really popped that much. The defense is also kind of young. I know they have Roquan Smith, who I think is a Holden. I forget.
He's a Holden.
So, not much to be happy about if you're a Chicago Bears fan. And I'll just shout this out real quick because Victor, the producer, keeps telling me to watch the show. I finally did it. I watched The Bear on Hulu, and they are based in Chicago, and the name is The Bear. So I got it in there for you, Victor. Check it out.
Obviously, I think they're going to be at the bottom of this division. I don't think that they're going to be able to. I just don't see how they're going to be able to do anything. Eberflus has a long way to go with this team. He has a long way to go with the system and everything. So I just think they're going to kind of be a mess this year. And I think after year 1, there's going to be question marks if Eberflus should be the head coach, just because of all the stuff going on that they're going to have. But guys, do you guys know that that obviously Hard Knocks happened on Tuesday night? We're not going to give too much away from what happened on Hard Knocks, but here's a pretty cool clip of their running back. Their running back Jamal Williams, who went to BYU. I got to cover him during, I think it was one of those Holiday Bowls or the San Diego Credit Union Bowl or whatever the hell bowl it was. But listen to him be a step up as a leader. And honest,
I need Danny to do one of these speeches.
MCDC is, I think he has Dan Campbell. You could tell these guys are passionate. Gilbert, tell me what. No, you know what? I'll go with Dan on this one just because of the passion. And I know he likes MCDC. Dan, what do you think? What do you think about these Detroit Lions? Do you think they could kind of maybe take some teams by surprise this year?
I think the biggest times, look, the Lions are always going to take teams by surprise because everyone, I'm sure, on their calendar, when they see they're playing Detroit, it's another bye week in their minds, and they come in half-assed, and it does happen. It does happen. I've seen it. I'm a Charger fan. I've seen it happen too many times. I have a buddy, Coach Goslin. He was at the game when the Browns were 0-15 or whatever, and of course the Chargers come in half-assed asleep, and they lose on the game winner. But honestly, just to circle back to what did you say his name was? Jamal Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like that is such a refreshing view of the NFL because I don't think enough players believe or have that same mentality. How many of these guys don't just collect checks just to get their asses handed to them on Sunday and not even care? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I've never understood that because I don't think I could ever get paid just to get my teeth kicked in and be a dummy. But honestly, like, here's the last thing I'll say, because I'm sure everyone's going to start putting time, Dan.
Yeah.
But this team's going to go as far as Jared Goff does. I think he's been terrible. I think if it wasn't for Jared Goff, McVay would have 2 Super Bowls, in essence. I think he is just obviously not worth, what was he, number 1 overall?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you could put him up there next to Jamarcus and half of these people. I don't think he's very useful. I don't think he's
all
very
right,
good.
Gilbert. Let's go with you. Gilbert, what do you think about Detroit?
What? I didn't say anything bad.
No, I didn't say anything, but you're
right. It's my turn.
On the field.
It's my turn. It's my show, Dan and Diego. And thank you for letting us know that you're a Chargers fan. We did not know that.
You're welcome.
Usually I'm against kind of these old school meathead coaches like Dan and Diego, but something about Dan Campbell.
Did you just call me a meathead?
Whatever. This is my time. Dan Campbell just has me fired up. I believe in the guy, and yeah, maybe he might not have creativity or whatever, a scheme and all that, but he lets people know that, I'm here for you, I care for you, and he's genuine. I believe it, so I'm going to run through a brick wall for that man, and I am buying some of this small hype for the Lions because I just got reminded they have Jameson Williams. I was a big fan of him in the draft. They went all in for that. I know it was kind of a weird trade, but they went all in. DeAndre Swift is good. Amon-Ra St. Brown, there you go. He had a nice year, and that was with Jared Goff. Yes, it's gonna all depend on Jared Goff, but if he's just somewhat decent and it makes it work, why not? I think that they might, I'm not saying they're gonna be a playoff team, but they're gonna turn some heads. They're gonna be sneaky fun. Aiden Hutchinson too, they got so that defense, some playmakers. I like the draft. I like Dan Campbell, and I can't wait to watch Hard Knocks and get me fired up with Jamal Williams.
That's what I was going to tell you. Aiden Hutchinson, they got some other guys that are just they have some ballers on that team. And then Jeff Okudah is one of those guys that they drafted top 5 a couple of years ago, and he still hasn't materialized. Hopefully this is the year where he kind of puts it together. But I think Detroit could be sneaky good. I'm not saying that they can make the playoffs, but I think they could be a lot better than what they were this year, especially if Dan Campbell has them believing. But I agree with Dan. I think they're going to go as far as Jared Goff goes. If St. Brown and Jameson Williams and DeAndre Swift are at the top of their game, then Jared Goff might have a good year. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of where Detroit goes. But Dan, I'm going to start with you. How do you see this division stacking up? What do you got?
The last thing towards the Lions, I hope they have another Lions season. So hopefully MCDC could get a better quarterback. So I think he's the one who traded for him, right? Goff?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a joke. I mean, whatever. How it finishes, the way I'm going to predict it, I'll be different. I think the stooge over there is going to be safe, so I'll be different. I'll go Viking, Packers. I'll go with Lions. I'm fired up with MCDC and Jamal Williams, and I'll go Bears last because I just don't think if Schofield's a starter on your offensive line, like you got big issues, dude.
Gilbert, who do you got going on?
I'm criticizing play on the field. I think that's fair.
Okay, we get it. You get the shovel out for people you don't like. I know the Packers are. I don't know if they're gonna win Super Bowl, but they're still the best team in the division by a big margin. So Packers. And this is a surprise right here. Surprise. Detroit Lions, number 2, baby. Dan Campbell, second-year coach, has people believing. I don't really care about the other ones. Vikings and then the Bears. Forget them.
I'll go Packers, Vikings, Detroit, Chicago. Dan, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this NFC North preview. But for right now, anything else you want to say to Gilbert before you leave?
I just want to say
every single week. Wow, he fell for it again. He knew it was coming too, so I like.
No, I know that's why. That's why he kind of he really didn't do anything. But Gilbert, it's time for our favorite segment. It's time for Una Más. Let's get. I want to get a would you rather, Gilbert, going on for you. So let's see this. It's just a quick. You don't have to give me a big explanation. Just say what you like and what your. Let me see. There we go. No, that's not it. Okay, cool. What kind of a breakfast would you rather, Gilbert?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Get the Lucky Charms out of here.
So it's Lucky Charms. It's an American breakfast, pancakes, eggs, bacon. It's a Mexican style breakfast kind. No, yeah, I guess Mexican style you would say is the second one.
Cafecito y pan dulce.
Yeah, and then there's a burrito. There's steak and eggs. You don't strike me as a breakfast guy.
I'm not really a morning person, but yeah, when I get in the mood, I am. But no Lucky Charms. I don't want the little cafecito and the pan dulce. Sorry, mothers out there, Mexican mothers and grandmas. I guess I don't want to play with the avocados there. You lost me. That's disgusting. I don't know. I can't really pick, Fernando. It's either B, E, or F. You know, I don't mind pancakes.
So he's going either with the pancakes, sausage, and eggs, or bacon. Sorry, not sausage, or steak and eggs, or the burrito breakfast.
I think that burrito has avocado pieces too. So get that one out of here too.
Okay, so
just steak and eggs, whatever.
All right. So it's either one of those two. All right, real quick. Let's see. Let's go to this one next. Gilbert, who would you rather, as if you had a team, who are you signing as your starting quarterback? Dan Marino, Johnny Unitas, Otto Graham, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning?
Oh, this is kind of easy, Fernando. I'm going with Tom Brady. He has 7 championships. But just because I want to prove people wrong, I want to get Dan Marino a Super Bowl, so I'll make it work. You know, him and I together. I love him in the movie with Ace Ventura. He needs a championship.
I liked him in Bad Boys 2 when they steal the car and then he's like, "Oh shit, it's Dan Marino." He's like, "Hey, let me know how it drives, officers." And then he's like,
forgot about that.
Yeah, so that was a funny one too. But I'm gonna go Peyton Manning, Gilbert. I think Peyton Manning, if Tom Brady and Bill Belichick weren't a thing, I think Peyton Manning would have won a lot more Super Bowls. So I think Peyton Manning would be my choice at quarterback. Let me see. Let me give you one last one, Gilbert. No, I don't want that one. No, I don't want that one. Oh, Gilbert, happy anniversary. 1 year ago today, we were talking about, do you remember this? We were talking about
wow. Now you're just repeating videos, Fernando. You're running out of material for Una Más.
No, I just saw this. I saw this on here, and I was like, "Oh, hey,
motherfucker!"
I'm like,
what's going on here?
I was like, "Oh, wow!" Like I remember these videos 1 year ago. We were doing these videos. People were doing crazy stuff during quarantine, and I thought it'd be funny to bring it back. This is a year ago that people were doing these, so
yeah,
I thought it'd be cool to bring it back.
The box challenge, but yeah,
the box challenge. Yeah, do you remember that?
Fernando. We're in 2022, man.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Un viejo recuerdo. But obviously, Gilbert, another great show. We got thank you to Marc Sessler for jumping on with us and talking a little AFC North. Thank you to Dan and Dago for joining us doing NFC North. Gilbert, a lot of really cool stuff we got cooking up. We can't really disclose a lot right now, but I think we have some good stuff coming up. Notice I didn't say Ronda Rousey's name at all during this one, so there was no trifecta there for you. And I think Dan counts in that Ronda Rousey one too. It's not just me, but definitely we have some cool stuff cooking, guys. If you guys haven't already watched Compas, go ahead, go back, watch it. We had Triple G on, Gennady Golovkin. Gennady had a lot of fun with us, I think, especially when I asked him, hey, I heard you moved to LA for tacos. And he's like, tacos? Why are you mentioning that? He's like, I'm cutting weight. So that was a pretty funny moment. But we this week, though, Gilbert, Rams versus Chargers preseason game. We will be doing a preview episode for that. Gilbert, could we be having a special guest on for this week?
I don't know, but we probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. Yes, we are. You know, people always say, well, are you going to keep talking Chargers? Well, here we are. You know, the Chargers.
You saved the best for last, Gilbert.
Yeah, the Rams and the Chargers are playing each other, so we're going to combine best of both worlds. I'm going to have a little reunion with my beat reporters over there with the Chargers and everybody on that side. You know, we're gonna say hi to each other and then move on again. But it's gonna be a nice little reunion. Chargers Rams, we have you covered. I know it's preseason game, but people get excited for the first one. We're gonna break it down for you guys.
Who's the home team?
The Chargers. So I think I'm gonna be in the visitors section. So
do you get a parking? Do you get good parking?
I don't know. I guess the Chargers are gonna take care of the parking. We'll see how they treat me, old beat reporter. But
were you nice to them when you were there?
What was that?
Were you nice to them while you were there? To Danny Marcano and Brock Anderson and our good Compas? Were you nice to them while you were on the Chargers beat?
Of course. So we'll see.
They should take care of you then.
Yes, but that episode will come out Thursday. Look out for that, and we'll see how you guys like it. But yes, Triple G video, check it out. All the videos we have on the YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers. It will really help us out in many different ways. So please, if you like the video, subscribe. Just make sure you're doing it. Tell a friend. We'll appreciate it.
Tell a friend, be a friend, subscribe. And you never know who's going to stop by with us. So maybe we'll have a special guest on Thursday for this preview episode. We honestly thank you guys so much for rocking with us. We have so much fun doing this every single week. And like we said, yeah, we took a little bit of break during the summer, but now we're ramped up. We're ready to go. We could be possibly juggling a couple of shows here and there with Combat Compas, Story Time with the Compas, and then obviously regular Compas. But we appreciate you guys rocking with us. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. And you know what? For the time being, Gilbert, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
Ya nos vamos, pues. Vámonos.